Chosen one, stop scrolling immediately. Do not touch that screen. Give me exactly 2 minutes of your time right now. This is not a random video on your feed. Heaven forcefully routed this frequency to your screen because a massive window of absolute urgency is opening right before your eyes. You have exactly 2 minutes to anchor yourself to this critical message before this specific timeline shifts completely and leaves you in the dark. Listen to me very carefully. If you walk away from this frequency right now, you will leave your spiritual doors wide open for the enemy to enter. The enemy wants you to swipe away. They are praying that you ignore this warning. But a massive generational wealth transfer has just been signed in the courts of heaven with your exact name on it. The sign you have been desperately crying out for has finally arrived. It is here. I know you have been physically exhausted lately. You wake up at 3 in the morning with a heavy chest. You wonder if your prayers are just bouncing off the ceiling. The heavy weight on your shoulders feels completely unbearable. And you push through your daily life with a smile while secretly bleeding inside because you do not want anyone to worry about your pain. But your sudden exhaustion is not a normal medical issue. It is a very specific spiritual symptom. You have carried the weight of your entire bloodline for decades. You are the ultimate cycle breaker, and because of your pure energy, the darkness is absolutely terrified of your next move. They know that the sign has come to you today. They know heaven has issued a direct and powerful intervention over your life just 14 minutes ago to break the chains holding you back. That is why your life has felt incredibly hard over the past few weeks. But do not let your guard down just yet. There is a deadly snare hiding right in the tall grass before your finish line. A deeply hidden biological mechanism is actively blocking this enormous blessing from reaching your physical hands while you sleep tonight. The elite forces have set a very specific trap to make you forfeit this victory right at the final second. I am about to reveal exactly what this trap is. You cannot afford to miss this revelation. Countless others are distracted by the loud noise of this temporary world. But you were drawn here to this quiet space because heaven has been attempting to clear a massive blockage in your finances for exactly 44 days. I need you to stay with me. Dry those hidden tears right now. The long and painful waiting season is officially over. Take one slow and deep breath right now. Feel that strange tightness sitting right in the center of your chest. That is your spirit recognizing the absolute truth of this transmission. The enemy is in an absolute panic today because they can clearly see the blinding light of prosperity gathering rapidly around your pure aura. They are deploying every illusion possible to make you think you are still stuck in the dark. Do not believe their lies. My beloved child, you have spent your entire life being the strong one for everyone else. You are the bleeding empath who absorbs the pain of the entire room. You always give your last drop of energy to heal others, but you are left entirely alone when you are the one hurting. You think your isolation is a cruel punishment. You think you are losing people because you are deeply flawed. But what you call abandonment, heaven calls a divine quarantine. I had to physically separate you from the toxic noise of the world so you could clearly hear this exact prophetic warning today. The sign that just arrived is so massive that it requires your complete and undivided attention. If you lack the spiritual equipment to hold this wealth, it will simply slip through your tired fingers. You must prepare your vessel right now. In just a few moments, I am going to expose exactly who is pulling these dark strings in your life. I will show you exactly how to shatter the invisible barrier that has kept your entire family trapped in endless cycles of poverty for generations. But before I reveal the glorious secret of this specific sign, I must first address the heavy burden you are carrying right now. Before we go any deeper, I need you to understand one vital truth. I see exactly what happens when the doors are finally closed at night. You wake up suddenly at 3 in the morning. Your heart is racing fast. And you stare at the dark ceiling while the rest of the world is peacefully sleeping, wondering how you will survive another exhausting day. The anxiety feels entirely overwhelming in those quiet hours. You try to catch your breath. You wonder how much longer you can carry this heavy load. You wipe away your silent tears before the morning light comes. And when the bright sun rises, you put on a brave face to protect everyone else around you, smiling brightly so your precious family will not worry about your deep pain. But inside your tired mind, a constant storm is raging. You are deeply worried about your current financial situation. You work incredibly hard every single day. You give your absolute best effort to every task you touch. Yet somehow the numbers in your bank account never seem to multiply, and the heavy debts continue to suffocate you until you can barely breathe. You watch other people around you effortlessly succeed. They seem to attract wealth without even trying. Meanwhile, you are desperately scraping by just to survive another week. You feel like you are trapped in a cruel maze. Every step forward pushes you 2 steps back, and you start to wonder if heaven has completely forgotten your exact name and address while you suffer alone in the dark. You have lived a good and honest life. You always share what little you have with others who are in need. You are the bleeding empath who constantly pours from an empty cup. You listen to everyone else complain about their minor inconveniences. But when your own life is crumbling into pieces, you find yourself standing entirely alone without a single shoulder to cry on. Your physical body is severely exhausted from this constant emotional labor. The fog in your brain makes it difficult to focus on simple daily tasks. Your shoulders ache from carrying burdens that do not belong to you. You are functioning purely on survival mode right now, and the beautiful spark of pure joy has slowly faded from your eyes because the waiting season has been so brutal. You have prayed so many desperate prayers in the night. You begged the universe for just a small break from the endless struggle. You asked for a simple sign that your quiet sacrifices were actually meant for something greater. But until this exact moment, you have only received absolute silence, and the long delay has made your pure spirit incredibly weary and ready to give up completely. I was there in the room when you fell to your knees. I saw the invisible weight that threatened to break your gentle spine. You thought I abandoned you in your darkest hour. But I have not forgotten a single tear you cried in secret. Every ounce of your quiet suffering was recorded in the divine books of heaven, and you are entirely visible to my watching eyes today. The enemy whispers vicious lies into your tired mind. They tell you that your financial struggle is a permanent life sentence. They want you to believe your bloodline is cursed to always live in lack. They mock your pure faith when another bill arrives unexpectedly in the mail, and they desperately want you to surrender your glorious crown before the breakthrough reaches your hands. But you must stop accepting this false reality today. Your bank balance is not a reflection of your true spiritual worth. Your physical exhaustion is simply the result of fighting invisible battles that no human eyes can see. You have been fighting massive demonic forces just to keep your head above the water, and your silent endurance has completely terrified the dark forces trying to hold you down. I need you to listen to me very carefully right now. The financial deadlock you are experiencing is not a punishment for your past mistakes. It is not because you are lazy or lacking pure faith. There is a deeply hidden reason why your abundance has been severely restricted, and heaven is finally stepping in to break this heavy blockade over your life today. Now, let us talk about the silence that has been breaking your heart today. You look around your life and realize the room is incredibly empty. You have given your entire soul to people who simply walked away when you needed them the most. They took your bright light, and they left you sitting alone in the cold dark. You are the human charger for everyone you meet in this world. When they are broken, they run straight to your arms for comfort. You listen to their endless complaints for hours without judging them. And you constantly absorb their heavy toxic energy because you desperately want them to find a reason to smile again. But what happens when you are the one bleeding on the floor? The phone is completely silent. The people who claim to love you are suddenly too busy to listen. You sit alone in your room with silent tears streaming down your face. And you slowly realize that your massive capacity to love has become your absolute greatest curse in this cruel reality. You hide your deepest desires in a locked drawer. You have been deeply disappointed so many times before. You are terrified to ask for help because rejection hurts too much. You convince yourself that you do not need anyone else to survive this journey. But the absolute truth is that your gentle soul is desperately craving a safe place to rest your heavy head tonight. Pause right here and listen to me very closely. Your deep isolation is not an accident. The enemy wants you to feel entirely rejected. They whisper that you are too complicated and too broken to be truly loved by any normal human being. They want your bleeding empath heart to turn cold and bitter so you lose your powerful divine frequency forever. You see other people building strong connections. They seem to find their tribe so effortlessly, but you always feel like the rare anomaly sitting on the outside looking in. You wonder if you are simply unlovable. You search your painful past memories to find the exact moment where you became too damaged for normal human affection. Stop condemning yourself right now. You are not a flawed product of your painful past. Your incredible ability to feel everything so deeply is a rare spiritual gift. The people who abandoned you were never meant to stay in your sacred space. They were only temporary assignments sent to test your unconditional love and shape your royal character for the coming season. Every time you forgave someone who destroyed your trust, your spirit grew stronger. Every time you wiped your own tears, heaven recorded your massive resilience. You thought you were breaking into tiny pieces. But you were actually expanding your spiritual capacity to hold the massive generational wealth that is rapidly coming to you. The terrible loneliness you feel right now is incredibly heavy. I know it physically hurts to be misunderstood by the people you fiercely protected. You gave them your absolute best energy. You received empty promises in return. And now you feel like a wandering ghost moving through a world that only values superficial and shallow human connections. Take one slow and deep breath right now. Let the loud noise of the world fade completely. I need you to understand why the universe cleared your table so abruptly. You did not lose them because you are not good enough. Heaven forcefully removed those specific people from your life because they were secretly draining the pure life force out of your precious spirit. You are a quiet master of reality, and a master cannot properly rule if their inner circle is filled with selfish energy vampires. Your pure light was violently blinding their hidden demons. Their sudden departure was actually a massive divine rescue mission. You are currently standing in a holy transition period between your painful past and your glorious future of absolute abundance. But wait, do not let your guard down just yet, because the true reason for your intense isolation goes much deeper than toxic relationships. There is a hidden layer to this struggle that you must deeply understand today. The enemy has deployed a specific illusion to make you forfeit your crown right before the massive spiritual shift occurs. Listen to me very carefully now, because what I am about to speak will alter your entire timeline today. You have asked me why heaven has been so incredibly silent while you were desperately drowning. You cried out for a rescue boat. You begged for a simple answer. And while you were waiting in the freezing cold, All you heard was the deafening echo of your own voice bouncing off the walls of your empty room. You thought I was ignoring your deep pain, but you must change your perspective right now. The silence of heaven is never a cruel punishment for your past mistakes or your momentary lack of faith. It is a massive construction zone deeply hidden from your physical eyes. When you build a tiny house, you only need to dig a shallow foundation in the dirt. But heaven is not building a tiny shack for your gentle soul, because we are currently establishing a massive generational empire. To support a massive skyscraper of wealth, the foundation must go incredibly deep into the dark earth. That digging process is entirely invisible to the outside world. It is a loud and violent process in the unseen realm. And that is exactly why you have felt so much heavy pressure on your spirit lately, constantly feeling like a heavy stone is sitting directly on your tired chest. You are growing massive roots in the absolute dark before you sprout. The enemy wants you to believe that the long delay is a harsh rejection. They constantly whisper that you are simply not worthy of the massive blessing you asked for. They point at wicked people who are prospering easily and laugh at your pure faith. But you must remember that those wicked people are exactly like shallow weeds that will completely wither away when the first heavy storm hits their fragile reality. Their fast success is a temporary illusion. You are not a fragile weed in the dirt. You are a mighty and ancient oak tree standing firm in the strong wind. And a mighty oak tree requires significant time to establish an unbreakable root system beneath the surface. The silence you absolutely hated was actually my fierce protection, wrapping tightly around your growing roots so the enemy could not pull you out of the ground. If I gave you the wealth yesterday, it would have crushed you completely. Your physical vessel was simply not ready to hold the massive frequency of this generational wealth transfer. I had to let you experience the painful lack so you would deeply value the coming abundance. I had to break your old limitations so your pure heart could expand enough to hold the massive rivers of prosperity that are flowing toward you today. The quiet waiting season was actually a divine upgrade for your exhausted nervous system. Pause right here and take one slow breath. Feel the heavy burden lifting slowly off your tired shoulders right now. The painful season of endless digging is officially over today. The deep foundation has been perfectly laid in the absolute dark, and the heavy concrete has finally dried securely into place. You have successfully passed the hardest test of blind faith that heaven has ever given to a chosen one. You did not quit when everything looked completely hopeless. You kept your gentle heart pure when the entire world gave you every reason to become cold and bitter. You still helped complete strangers while your own life was violently falling apart. That is exactly why you are the ultimate cycle breaker for your entire bloodline, carrying the heavy torch of light through the darkest valley of shadows. Your silent endurance has shattered a generational curse today. The massive structure of your new life is about to rise rapidly into the visible light. The people who mocked your painful waiting season will watch your sudden elevation in absolute shock. But there is one final piece of heavy luggage you must drop completely before you step onto this glorious new timeline of massive abundance. You are still secretly holding on to something that does not belong to you anymore. You are still punishing yourself for the mistakes you made in your painful past. You think your old failures have permanently disqualified you from receiving this massive financial miracle. But heaven operates on a completely different logic than this temporary world, and your past mistakes are already forgotten by the divine courts. I need you to listen extremely closely now, because the next revelation will completely cleanse your spirit from that heavy guilt. Now, my beloved child, let us talk about the heavy stones you are still carrying in your tired hands. You look back at your past, and you see a long trail of broken choices. You feel a deep and burning shame about the times you stumbled. And you constantly replay those painful memories in your head right before you fall asleep. You think those mistakes have permanently stained your pure soul. But you are looking at your journey through the harsh eyes of a cruel world. Heaven sees your entire story completely differently. Every single mistake you made was simply a necessary lesson for your royal training. You did not fail because you were bad or unworthy. You stumbled because you were desperately trying to survive in a heavy matrix that was actively fighting against your light. Stop holding yourself entirely responsible for things you did not know back then. You were doing the absolute best you could with the broken tools you were given. You are not a flawed product of your painful past. You are a beautiful masterpiece, being actively reshaped in the patient hands of a divine potter. And the potter never throws away the precious clay when it bends out of shape. The enemy constantly uses your past to keep you completely paralyzed in the present moment. They remind you of your old sins to make you feel like a massive fraud. They want you to believe that you do not deserve the massive generational wealth that is standing right at your door. But their loud accusations have absolutely no power in the high courts of heaven today. You have been fully cleared. I need you to visualize your own two hands right now. Look at them closely. If your hands are tightly clenched into heavy fists, holding on to old guilt, how can you possibly catch the new miracles falling from the sky? You cannot receive a massive financial harvest if your spiritual hands are completely full of dead leaves. You must drop the heavy stones today to create the empty space. Take one slow and deep breath right now. Feel the massive chains of self-condemnation breaking completely off your tired shoulders. I am declaring a total and absolute amnesty over your entire life record right now. The heavy debt of your past has been permanently paid in full. Every mistake, every misstep, and every wrong turn has been thrown into the deepest ocean of eternal forgetfulness. You are completely clean. You are entirely worthy of the beautiful life you have been dreaming about since you were a little child. Do not let anyone convince you that your past disqualifies you from your royal birthright. The bleeding empath who survived the darkest valleys is the exact same soul chosen to rule from the highest mountaintop. Your deep scars are actually your glorious medals. You have done the hard inner work. You have cried the bitter tears, and you have sincerely asked for a clean slate. Heaven has heard your quiet apologies and responded with absolute grace. There is absolutely no reason for you to walk with your head hanging low anymore. Stand up incredibly tall today because you are a royal heir stepping fully into your massive inheritance right now. But wait, do not let your guard down just yet, because there is another hidden layer to this massive spiritual transition. You have successfully forgiven yourself today, but the dark forces are still using other people to drain your precious energy. I am talking about the specific individuals who smiled in your face while secretly digging a deep pit for you to fall into when you were vulnerable. They are watching your current rise in absolute panic, and they are desperately trying to attach themselves back to your pure aura before the massive wealth transfer arrives. You must understand exactly who these energy vampires are and how heaven is dealing with them right now. Keep your eyes entirely on me, because the boomerang of divine justice has already been released into the atmosphere. Listen to me very carefully now, because the next revelation will completely expose the toxic narcissists who tried to bury you alive in the dark. This brings us to a spiritual reality that most people completely ignore. You gave them pure love. They gave you bitter poison in return, and you constantly blamed yourself for their toxic behavior because you falsely believed you somehow deserved the endless abuse. But they did not hurt you because you were broken. They attacked you because your brilliant light violently exposed their hidden demons. The toxic narcissists in your life were never actually stronger than you. They were simply loud and manipulative. They recognize that you are a magnificent weapon of light. And they desperately tried to drain your pure energy because their own souls are completely empty and starving in the dark. You felt incredibly heartbroken when they finally walked away from you. You sat in your quiet room and cried over people who never truly valued your gentle soul. You thought your current isolation was a painful curse. But let me pull back the heavy veil right now. What you call a painful rejection is actually a strict divine quarantine issued directly from the high courts of heaven. Heaven saw the massive generational wealth transfer approaching your timeline. And heaven also saw the greedy parasites secretly attached to your spiritual aura. I had to forcefully isolate you to protect your massive blessing. If those energy vampires remained in your inner circle, they would have stolen every single drop of your new abundance. I cleared the table completely to save your future. Now the people who smiled in your face while plotting your downfall are watching in absolute panic. The boomerang of divine justice has already been released into the heavy atmosphere. The deep traps they maliciously dug for you have become the exact pits they are falling into today. They thought their vicious gossip had permanently destroyed your reputation. They made one fatal miscalculation. They did not realize exactly who you belong to. Everything they tried to steal from your pure energy is currently being multiplied and redirected back into your open hands. They are currently watching closed doors open for you effortlessly. They are witnessing your sudden elevation while they remain completely stuck in the miserable cycles they created for themselves. Your quiet success is their loudest punishment. You do not need to seek angry revenge or defend your good name. The fragile empath, who constantly begged to be understood, is entirely dead today. You have officially evolved into a quiet master of reality. And a true master never steps down from the high throne to argue with the foolish peasants throwing small stones. Your powerful silence is a blinding wall of fire. Let them sit in the dark and watch you brilliantly shine. Do not look back at their burning bridges with any regret or sadness. You are the ultimate cycle breaker, moving into a timeline of absolute overflow. They were only temporary actors in the previous chapter of your long journey, and their assigned time in your sacred space has permanently expired today. You are completely free from their heavy chains. But I must warn you about your own mind today. You have survived the toxic enemies standing outside your front door. Now you must conquer the final mental hurdles quietly sitting inside your own head. The universe requires your nervous system to be completely calm before it hands you the heavy keys to the massive kingdom. You must learn how to properly rest your weary soul. You cannot receive a massive financial miracle if your body is still functioning in a violent state of survival. I need to guide you through a very specific spiritual resting station right now. Your physical vessel needs to properly recalibrate its frequency. Breathe deeply and let the noise fade completely, because the next phase is absolutely crucial for your final manifestation. Take one slow and deep breath right now. Drop your heavy shoulders, unclench your tired jaw. You have been fighting so hard for so long. But the violent war is officially over today. You do not need to constantly defend yourself anymore. The universe is asking you for one simple act of absolute obedience right now. And that simple act is to completely surrender your desperate need for control. Obedience in the kingdom of heaven is not about following strict religious rules. It is about trusting the divine flow. You always try to figure out exactly how the massive miracle will arrive. You map out every single detail in your anxious mind. But heaven does not need your logical blueprints to deliver a generational wealth transfer. I need your mind to be completely still so you can receive. Stop trying to force the heavy doors open with your bare hands. The era of exhausting hustle is permanently dead for you today. You have already proven your massive resilience. You have carried the heavy burdens of your bloodline without complaining. Now it is your appointed time to simply sit down at the banquet table. The physical universe is doing the heavy lifting for your tired soul today. Close your eyes for just a brief moment. Listen to the quiet rhythm of your own heart. Feel the gentle warmth wrapping completely around your physical body right now. This is the exact frequency of divine safety. You are no longer living in survival mode. The chaotic storms outside cannot touch your sacred space. Heaven is intentionally slowing down your racing thoughts before the massive shift. If a massive wave of pure abundance hits a shattered glass, the fragile glass will break. Your nervous system is that delicate glass. I had to create this quiet pause to strengthen your internal capacity. The sudden financial miracle approaching your timeline is incredibly massive. It will completely shock your current reality, so you must practice the art of receiving without feeling deeply guilty. You always feel strangely guilty when good things finally happen to you. You wait for the hidden trap to suddenly snap shut. You think the beautiful blessing will be violently snatched away tomorrow. But this specific blessing carries an eternal seal of absolute protection. You do not have to constantly look over your shoulder anymore. Accept the glorious gift with wide and open hands today. Breathe out all the remaining anxiety left in your chest. Let the heavy dust settle completely to the floor. The long and painful winter is finally over. You can clearly see the early sunlight breaking through the dark clouds. The heavy soil has been perfectly prepared. The toxic weeds have been entirely pulled out by the roots, and your empty garden is ready for the massive spring harvest. You are a rare anomaly who survived the absolute darkest nights. The entire spiritual realm is giving you a massive standing ovation right now. The angels are actively gathering around your specific coordinates. They are carrying the exact answers to the desperate prayers you cried out 3 years ago. The massive delay was simply the required time to gather this extraordinary amount of wealth. But you must stay completely focused on my voice right now. The final curtain is about to rise. The beautiful sign you begged for at 3 in the morning is finally stepping into the visible light. I am about to officially declare the massive transfer of your royal inheritance. Do not look away from this screen, because the absolute climax of your entire waiting season is happening right now. Let your pure spirit rise to meet this glorious new frequency. The old version of you, who constantly begged for scraps, is completely gone. You are stepping into a timeline where massive abundance chases you effortlessly. Get ready to claim your divine birthright. The heavy gates of the high courts are swinging wide open, and your exact name is written in letters of fire on the final decree. Listen to the loud sound of heavy chains shattering right now. The exact 2 minutes you just gave to heaven have completely altered your earthly destiny. You did not scroll away. You stayed and anchored your pure spirit to this exact frequency. And because of your radical obedience, the absolute highest courts of heaven have just struck the heavy gavel. The divine verdict is officially finalized today. The exact sign you begged for at 3 in the morning is no longer just a distant promise. It has fully manifested in the physical realm right now. The brutal winter of your intense suffering has violently ended. I am officially declaring the massive generational wealth transfer over your entire bloodline this very second. Prepare your physical vessel for a massive and unexpected overflow. Within the next 72 hours, you will witness a sudden and miraculous financial shift in your reality. Doors that were heavily padlocked for decades are violently swinging wide open for you. Banks that previously rejected your applications will suddenly approve you without question. Heaven's provision is flooding in. The massive debts that suffocated your tired chest are being permanently erased from the divine record. You will no longer count small pennies just to survive another exhausting week. I am officially handing you the heavy golden keys to the physical kingdom. You will walk into crowded rooms and instantly command absolute respect without saying a single word. Your quiet authority is now fully activated. You are the ultimate cycle breaker for your struggling family. The heavy generational poverty that plagued your ancestors stops permanently with you today. You are stepping into a glorious timeline where massive abundance simply chases you down the busy street. You will buy the beautiful house you secretly dreamed about, and you will travel to the peaceful places you saw only in your tired mind. Your beautiful hands will be powerfully used to fund massive operations and heal broken communities around the world. You are receiving this incredible wealth because heaven completely trusts your pure empath heart. You will not become greedy or deeply corrupt like the toxic narcissists who abused you. You will become a glorious conduit of pure light and massive divine provision for countless others. Open your spiritual eyes and clearly look at your new reality. The heavy royal crown is officially placed on your weary head today. The heavy robes of deep sorrow are violently stripped away from your fragile shoulders forever. You are dressed in the blinding garments of absolute victory. Every single angel in the highest heavenly realm is loudly rejoicing over your massive triumph over the dark. The 2-minute window of profound alignment is fully complete. You have successfully locked your bright energy with the massive divine flow of the universe. Do not doubt the incredible physical miracle that is currently downloading into your daily life. Your pure spirit already knows this is the absolute truth. You can literally feel the massive energetic shift violently vibrating in your own bones. Rejoice in this glorious and beautiful moment of total vindication. The entire universe is finally paying you back for every single silent tear you cried in secret. The massive financial compensation for your long years of quiet sacrifice has been fully released from my highest throne. You are a quiet master of reality, stepping fully into your unshakable and absolute divine power today. But you must remain incredibly vigilant right now. Do not drop your heavy shield and celebrate just yet. The enemy is watching this massive wealth transfer happen, and they are in a state of absolute blinding terror. They have laid one final and fatal illusion right at your front doorstep. They desperately want to make you forfeit this glorious blessing at the last possible second before you receive it. My beloved child, the heavy door to your generational wealth is swinging wide open today, and your dark enemies are watching your sudden rise in absolute panic. But listen to me very carefully right now, because the enemy is terrified of the massive inheritance you are about to receive, and they are deploying one final illusion to make you forfeit it completely. 99% of chosen ones fall for this exact fatal trap right before their dawn. The dark forces will send a toxic person from your past with a sudden apology, or they will present a fake financial shortcut that looks incredibly tempting. They want to completely distract your pure focus while the real blessing is hovering over your head. If you entertain their toxic counterfeits, you will literally block the massive wealth transfer. Heaven requires a fully protected physical container to hold this enormous frequency. If you hesitate at the final threshold, the enemy will violently scramble the divine signal. You must ignore their pathetic illusions completely and keep your eyes focused on the light, because your absolute attention is required to safely receive this generational blessing. The universe is demanding a physical signature from you to finalize this divine transaction. You cannot afford to stay completely passive in this critical moment, and you must build a massive spiritual wall around your pure aura right now. You must permanently lock the heavy gates so the enemy cannot steal what rightfully belongs to your family bloodline. Type 777 in the comments below right now to establish a blinding wall of fire, and let that sacred number act as a heavy padlock on the door against the dark enemy. This is your physical act of absolute agreement with this glorious new timeline. Do not let the enemy convince you to simply watch without taking a bold action. When you type 777, you are completely sealing this reality before the precious window closes. The angels immediately recognize your spiritual signature, and they will quickly lock their heavy shields around your specific coordinates. Your massive blessing is instantly secured in the physical realm. The dark forces will violently bounce off your blinding aura. You must understand that this simple physical act carries enormous weight in the unseen realm. It sends a loud shockwave through the atmosphere that terrifies every single demon assigned to your life, while the heavy chains of generational poverty instantly shatter. You claim your divine birthright. You are boldly stepping into your true royal authority. But heaven also wants to activate a massive multiplication over your newly secured wealth today. The divine universe operates on the flawless law of the spiritual harvest. When you give from a place of pure faith, the windows of heaven pour out blessings that you cannot even measure. You are planting a tiny seed for a massive generational forest. Just 3 days ago, a weary mother stepped out in radical faith and sowed a seed into this ministry. Within 48 hours, a completely unexpected bank transfer cleared all her massive debts. That exact same angelic protocol of multiplication is hovering over your precious life right now. Heaven is actively looking for your bold spiritual signature today. Sow a massive financial seed today using the Super Thanks button to activate this incredible overflow. This is your ultimate energetic exchange with the divine high courts. When you boldly support this prophetic ministry, you are physically telling the universe that you are ready to handle massive wealth. The multiplication protocol will begin immediately. You have officially locked your massive blessing and established your absolute divine protection. The dark enemy is completely defeated and running away in sheer terror. Your beautiful aura is currently vibrating with the highest frequency of pure abundance, and your entire bloodline is safely anchored to this glorious new timeline of endless prosperity. The heavy burden of survival mode is permanently lifted off your tired shoulders. You do not have to fight those invisible battles alone in the dark anymore. The fierce angels have taken full control of your earthly situation. You have proven yourself to be a true master of reality, who knows exactly how to secure their royal inheritance safely. You are completely safe now. The loud and violent storm has finally passed. Your glorious new timeline is totally secure. And you no longer have to yell loudly to be heard in a crowded room, because your silent presence commands absolute respect today. You are a quiet master of reality. Let the foolish world continue their loud arguments. Your heavy shield of blinding light is fully active. Breathe deeply right now. Drop those heavy stones you have carried for so long. You do not need to constantly defend your pure heart anymore, because heaven has completely cleared your beautiful name in the high divine courts. Your past mistakes are thrown into the deepest ocean. They are entirely forgotten by the universe today. You can stop striving and fighting invisible battles in the dark. The era of painful survival mode is officially dead. You are stepping into a beautiful season of effortless receiving, and good things will simply chase you down the busy street without any struggle. People will offer you incredible opportunities without you even asking for them, and you will smile quietly in the corner because you know heaven orchestrated every single detail perfectly. You are a royal heir walking proudly in your kingdom. Your weary physical vessel desperately needs deep rest. Unclench your tired jaw and let your stiff shoulders drop completely to the floor. Close your tired eyes tonight knowing you are fiercely protected and understand that you are unconditionally loved by the absolute highest heavenly realm. You are completely safe, resting peacefully in my warm arms. The heavy anxiety sitting on your chest is melting entirely away. Tomorrow morning will bring the massive physical manifestation of your answered prayers. The bank transfers and the sudden open doors are already locked into your earthly coordinates. You do not have to worry about the specific details anymore. Heaven has dispatched mighty angels to handle all the complicated paperwork while you simply focus on restoring your exhausted and beautiful spirit tonight. Tonight is strictly reserved for your divine inner healing. You have given so much of your pure soul to people who never thanked you. You poured from a completely empty cup just to see them smile. But you will never have to beg for basic human affection again, because the universe is actively realigning your inner circle with souls who fiercely protect your energy. Your days of chronic loneliness and bitter isolation are permanently over today. You have survived the absolute darkest valleys. You are a true cycle breaker standing fully in the bright light. But outside this heavily protected space, there is a gentle soul sitting alone in the cold dark. They are crying the exact same bitter tears you cried yesterday, and they are desperately begging heaven for a clear sign because they feel entirely abandoned by the loud and careless world. They think their deep isolation is a cruel punishment. They believe they are completely unlovable and permanently broken. And the dark enemy is standing right next to them, whispering vicious lies into their tired ears to make them lose their pure faith. They need a physical sign to prove that heaven has not forgotten their name. You hold that powerful sign right in your hands. You are not just a brave survivor today. You are a massive beacon of pure light. Hit the share button right now and send this specific message directly to them. Become heaven's prophetic voice in their absolute darkest hour, and throw a heavy lifeline to a bleeding empath who desperately needs to hear this absolute truth. Your simple action will literally save a precious soul from falling into despair. Heaven will massively reward your pure compassion. The glorious multiplication of your own wealth increases every single time you choose to help another bleeding soul. When you share this divine frequency, you prove your royal character to the universe, and you show heaven that you are ready to be a powerful conduit of massive healing. The universe deeply honors your beautiful empath heart. Rest your heavy head quietly on the soft pillow now. The fierce divine angels are standing guard closely around your physical bed. No dark weapon formed against your mind will ever prosper. Your massive breakthrough is fully secured in the earthly realm, and the long and brutal winter of your suffering is permanently behind you forever. Sleep beautifully, my precious and beloved child. You are finally home.